In the 2003 strike, there was a quick decapitation strike against Saddam. We missed him. Actually, first 40 seconds of the war, 40 dead. So I would recommend everybody read the New York Times. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the writing's on the wall.
You know, Emily.
Yeah. Apples to oranges. Let's just compare different operations, different time frames. Yeah. Sure. Different equipment, different capabilities, different innovation. Sure, it was all the same. Everything. Why do we do this? Why is this real? Why is this an argument? Why is this constantly the way that conservatives want to have this conversation? Why can't we just have the conversation about the war? What got us into the war, the current status of the war, what it's gonna take for us to win, when we go open up the strait, like things of that nature. Why can't we have that conversation? Why do we have to take this hypothetical trip to the past and then put these things side by side as if they were on the same basis and we have the same capabilities that exist then as they do now and everybody's in the same scenario? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? None of this stuff is the same. Whatever, man. This is the dumbest way to articulate the fucking arguments.
It is funny.
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
Today we're back at it with Fox.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
I know. But before we get into it, thanks to everybody that's been subscribing. Really means a lot. Make sure that y'all hit me up in the comments. Let me know what y'all like, dislike. Keep the conversation going. I've been seeing y'all in there. I try and get in there and engage, but I appreciate all the love. Now, this video, we're going to be talking about, you know, Trump's putting out more threats against Iran, and Fox is loving it all. So, of course, we got to get back into it with the five and, you know, grit and bear what they got to talk about. Let's get into it.
Is it a deal, or do we make him squeal? President Trump sending Iran a 15-point plan to end the war as he readies 2,000 troops to head to the Middle East. Iran is reportedly suspicious of 47's deal, but they have a counteroffer, calling for war reparations and sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. Here's Carolyn.
President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell. Iran should not miscalculate again. Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
Meanwhile, it turns out that Trump likes watching.
It's interesting telling somebody that they've already been defeated when they're still fighting, right? Like, they're still fighting. I mean, yeah, whatever.
Terrorists get blown to bits as much as we do. A new report claims the president gets a daily highlight reel of the military's biggest strikes in Iran, conveniently called stuff blowing up.
Is it still, it's not cringe yet? Like the explosions, the nonstop explosions in the background, is that still, am I the only one that thinks that that's, like, even if I was the type of person that, like, I love movies, right? I love movies. I love action movies and stuff like that. But Michael Bay kind of played out some of his made big explosions and chase scenes from every movie. Like, he's known for that. So it's kind of played out when he punches it up to the max. Whatever. I'm going on a rant. My bad.
That is the best title for a Fox Nation show, right?
I love Stuff blowing up.
Stuff blowing up. And it's just nonstop things just blowing up. Much like my career, Dana. When we first
after
started
this segment.
Yeah. You know, so you have war reparations versus unleashing a hell. That seems kind of like a push.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what's going on. And I think that's how the commander-in-chief wants it, to be honest. I think that objectively.
How is she saying that? Because I feel like she's saying that with complete confidence. Like, I don't know what's going on, and that's the way I like it.
military operations from our end are going very well.
Right.
And I would recommend several pieces of reading for you. But Brett Stevens in the New York Times saying that future generations will look back on this and go, I cannot believe they were able to accomplish all of these things. So militarily, yes. And then you have this question on the diplomacy. One of the difficult things is who are we talking to? But I understand from the Iranian standpoint, do you want to raise your hand and say, I'm the guy?
Yeah.
And risk one, internal dissension against you, or even possibly getting blown up yourself. So I don't know what is happening. I think the madman theory is actually working in President Trump's favor right now. He calmed the markets on Monday. They've been fairly steady right now, but there is a clock when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, and getting that open is of utmost importance.
Yeah, you can kind of see it on her face. I can't remember how everybody else looks, but at least for her specifically, she don't believe in half of what she's saying. She's not giving that look of confidence in the things that are coming out of her mouth. I'm just saying that's what her body language is saying. And I get why. Like, I say it all the time, like Fox is pretty performative at this point. And come on, like, everybody can see what's actually going on in everybody's day-to-day lives. So
Funny how the planet just has one, like, it's the Strait of Hormuz. You think we'd think of a backup plan, Jesse. It's funny that he gets the dailies on the war. I can't figure out if he's like a movie director looking at the dailies of the shoot, or he's in charge of controlled demolition for a contracting company.
It's war porn.
Yeah.
Turns me on too.
yeah, spoken like somebody that's never been to war, I'm imagining.
The first peace talks, I think both sides are posturing. I wouldn't put any stock in either offer. These guys are too afraid to put their head above ground. They're not even talking to each other, let alone the United States. Everybody knows the straits to play. The 82nd Airborne's almost there. The Marines and the Rangers and Delta should be there by Friday. And we've been softening up the coastline. We hit 90 targets on Karg Island. I think everybody knows what's going to happen this weekend. I spoke to one of my best sources on Wall Street, and he said oil traders are seeing this now as ending in May. He says the International Naval Alliance should arrive by next week, maybe a week and a half. And he said the regime's just pretending to have leverage. They have absolutely no leverage, despite what you hear in the press. This has been completely and overwhelmingly one-sided. And this whole strait closure is Iran's last gasp. And he sees oil prices going down to 70 by the fall.
To have complete and utter faith in what we are being told, I believe that's disingenuous. We've been lied to so much, given, the war, the administration, things of that nature. I'm hoping that, I'm hoping I'm being a pessimist in this situation, right? Because I wouldn't want any more damage to be done to our bases, our soldiers, things of that nature. But I'm not inclined to believe that I'm being told the truth. And then again, like, I know that there's a decent amount, from what's been reported from the sources that I've been seeing, there's a decent amount of civilians, casualties and structures that have been damaged and or destroyed. So again, this is one of the things that I always say, like, yeah, even if once this conflict is over, we have created problems for the future, right? And Iranians, like, haven't always proven to be people that just forgive and forget, right? Like, but what do I know?
Oil prices under Barack Obama closed under over $100 a barrel for around 3.5 years. Under Joe Biden, closed over 100 for 5 months. You know how many?
Somebody that is a conservative, if y'all do watch my content and stuff like that, let me know at which point we'll stop doing this. At which point we'll stop doing the whole, we'll go back to Obama, who was fighting 2 wars that he didn't start, right? We were fighting wars at the time that he took office. And then Biden, you know, coming off of COVID and all that different stuff. Like, you can talk all you want to about where the economy was when you're not trying to distract from, you know, Trump current day presidency. Like, why are we going back? You said it then, right? You said it then. I guarantee you Fox News said all of the things during Obama's presidency, all the things during Biden's presidency. The only reason why they're trying to bring it up now is to bring up the fact that, yes, your prices are going up, but don't you worry, they're not as bad as this one time 10 years ago or whatever the case may be. Like, it's just weird. It's just weird. Like, what are we talking about? Why are we talking about that stuff? It was different conditions, different scenarios that led us to that point, just like what led us to this now. This is self-inflicted. Our commander-in-chief decided to do this. He told us after the fact the reason why he decided to do it, and now we have to take his word for it. But he decided to do this. So all the pain and suffering that you're feeling is because of his actions, by what he's saying. So why aren't we just talking about that? Why are we talking about Obama and Biden?
Days, it's close to over 100 under Donald Trump, 6. So everybody just needs to chill here, okay? Great article that you mentioned, Dana. I brought it and highlighted it for Jessica. Operation Desert Storm, widely considered a lightning-fast military success. I think 42 aircraft got shot down. In this operation, 0 by enemy fire. The land and air campaign lasted 6 weeks. Everybody remembers how fast that was? We're now in week 3 here. The invasion of Panama, 23 soldiers killed. Now we have 13 American dead. We actually had more people died in training exercises last year in the Army than have died in combat here. We went into recession during that Persian crisis. Now, since Operation Midnight Fury, the Dow's up 9%. In the 2003 strike, there was a quick decapitation strike against Saddam. We missed him. Actually, first 40 seconds of the war, 40 dead. So I would recommend everybody read the New York Times. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the writing's on the wall.
Emily.
Yeah. Apples to oranges. Let's just compare different operations, different time frames. Yeah. Sure. Different equipment, different capabilities, different innovations. Sure. It was all the same. Everything. Why do we do this? Why is this real? Why is this an argument? Why is this constantly the way that conservatives want to have this conversation? Why can't we just have the conversation about the war? What got us into the war, the current status of the war, what it's gonna take for us to win, when we go open up the strait, like things of that nature. Why can't we have that conversation? Why do we have to take this hypothetical trip to the past and then put these things side by side as if they were on the same basis and we have the same capabilities that exist then as they do now and everybody's in the same scenario? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? None of this stuff is the same. Whatever, man. This is the dumbest way to articulate the fucking argument. It's stupid.
It is funny. Like, I think that America is suffering from the fact that maybe we just killed so many of their leaders. They've run out of people to talk to. And Jesse makes a point, like, no one wants to speak up. It's kind of like outnumbered. No one wants to talk to each other.
Because I'm hogging all the oxygen. First of all, stuff getting blown up is totally my Weapons of War show, you guys, on Fox Nation.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
Anyway, I agree. I mean, clearly there's not a lot of hands being raised in order to essentially, like, in the line to the execution guillotine. But I think what's interesting is as sort of the naysayers and as always the libs talking about the gap of alignment here, I think it's narrower than people think. And I think it's real, but it's not decisive. And from what I understand, diplomacy at this level, it's not about aligning endpoints. It's about sort of rationing your concessions. And the most important line in that was about the cost of war, essentially. Like whether each side, when they decide what is the point at which the cost becomes too high to bear. We can keep going all day and all night, right? That's
not true. It's not true. We can't keep going all day and all night from a munition standpoint, and we can't keep going all day and all night from a monetary standpoint unless Congress is willing to front the bill, and they're already having difficulty finding the money. And if we continue to do that and we continue to increase the deficit and the dollar continues to decline, then that will have global ramifications as well. And you know, again, it's not just the situation for us, it's for all our allies. Like, they can paint this rosy picture all they want to, but all of our allies are having issues. Like I said, South Korea, Japan, Europe, like all these different places are going through it. Like, they're having to tell people, hey man, stop traveling. You might want to start carpooling. Nah, fuck Mike, you need to start carpooling. Not all of y'all is going to be able to get, we're going to have to do blackouts, like all these different things. So meanwhile, while Fox News is saying we can go all day, all night, we got money and munitions to do this as long as you want to. Who's going to blink first? Yeah. You could keep saying that. You could keep painting that picture. You can keep singing that story all you want to. The truth is way worse than that.
biggest leveraging tool, that our commander-in-chief is flexible and that we have the military all day, all night. We can keep this up. We will keep killing everyone if they keep threatening our U.S. interests and our soldiers. And I think the whole point about that 15-point plan is that it's deferring the hardest issues and it's creating political wins on both sides. This is not about obviously appeasing the Islamic Republic in any way, but it's about getting them, if they want, to save a little bit of face, while for us saying, yeah, we're getting everything that we need, everything that we want. You are checking all of those boxes. And if you want to say, sure, the United States answered some of our concessions, feel free. But we are, no matter what, protecting American interests. And I think we are well on our way to doing so. And as Caroline keeps saying, we're doing it expeditiously, way sooner than anyone predicted and way sooner than the White House predicted.
I'd love for them to save face, but they'll just cover it.
When did they tell us their prediction? They tell us how long this is going to take? When it's going to be over? Because I know it keeps changing, but they said like they predicted and that they're ahead of schedule. Like, full of shit.
Jessica, what do you make of do you have any, are your sources telling you who's running Iran?
No. And my Wall Street sources aren't saying the same thing that Jesse's Wall Street sources are saying either. But I love that you read a newspaper.
I read
And a
more
real
than
one.
you every day.
I don't know.
So the one thing I will say, obviously they have rotating cast members and panel members for this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And I don't see how they do it, but they do seem to keep a playful banter about them. However, when you're talking about things that are so serious, I don't get how you do that. But then again, I'm not in the business, right? So I'm not them. I don't know how they compartmentalize all this stuff, and how you can go from making a joke about something that's serious to talking serious. So I will say, like, whatever, they have that type of relationship. They get along well. They can do it. I don't get it. I don't understand how this is the dynamic. But whatever.
I don't know if that's true.
Financial Times,
All right.
Wall Street Journal, New York Times, New York Post.
And you still say this crap on TV after you've read all that?
I can't believe she just said that.
Okay. The daily, war snuff film briefing, there was more to that story than he likes to see what's getting blown up. there was concern that he was not taking in all of the dimensions of this war. And some of that you might think is unfair criticism. I know you like to put it on the libs and that it's just us and Orange Man bad, and no matter what he was going to do, we were going to hate it.
True.
But the Roger Wicker and Mike Rogers, both Republicans, the chairs of the Homeland Security Committees in the Senate and the House, just came out of their briefing and they said, we need to know more about what's going on, what the options are, and why they're being considered. The White House continues to not make a strong enough case to the people who they need to go out there and sell this thing to the American public, and then to the American public themselves. And that's why support for this, and I should note again that this is the least popular military incursion, not excursion.
And I believe that the reason why is because when they are coming out and giving information, it's not concise, it's not detailed. There was never a plan. There was never really a laid out like, hey, this is our goals, this is our intention, things of that nature. It seems like we're playing it by ear. We're going with the flow. We're attacking people, seeing how they respond, attacking it. It's like, I don't know, playing checkers without a plan. You know what I'm saying? Like just sitting down and just going for pieces and then countering the pieces that we're taking. You know what I'm saying? Like not going into it with a specific strategy. And like if you were playing chess and you know how the pieces move, but you don't have a plan in mind, you don't have a strategy in mind, you're just sitting down and it's like, hey, I know how these pieces move. I'm going to move these pieces to try and take your pieces. You're going to try and take my pieces and I'm going to react. It just doesn't seem like we went into this with a well-developed, thought-out plan. That's how it comes off. And no matter how you try and, spin the situation to it, and they brief it like it wasn't well thought out, like how we're going about it doesn't, outside of like having the intel to go after high-value targets, it just seems like that's what we had. We had a lot of information about high value targets and where to strike and how to get them, which is good. I don't want to highlight that and then act like it's a negative thing. It's a positive thing that we were able to target their key leadership. However, just because we targeted all their key leadership, obviously they put other people in place and they're continuing to operate. So yes, we, cut the head off, not necessarily cut the head off a snake because it's still dangerous. It's still shooting missiles everywhere. It's still striking. So, we did pinpoint strikes, but they are still deadly. They are still a threat. And now what? And now they've closed off the strait. So, and now there's an economic consequence to all of these things. So now what? What are we going to do? How do we end it? And how do we get the economy back on track?
Incursion in modern American history. So take that Desert Storm. The approval for this incursion is down in CBS, Reuters, and Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
This is the thing. It's so funny. You try to deflect.
But what are the polls going to? War isn't popular.
That's not true. War used to be popular.
Well, thank God we changed. Maybe we've changed.
All right. My newspaper joke was funny.
Oh, tell me the newspaper joke.
I did it. I made it out loud.
It was good.
On the television.
It was good.
It's okay.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Obviously, that's the end of the video. Like I said, they enjoy each other's banter and stuff like that. I'm starting to get used to it a little bit more. I still hate Gutfeld and Jesse. Like they are almost unbearable, but I'm getting used to it now. So I'm starting to expect it and accept it a little bit better. But y'all let me know. Do y'all agree with any of the points that were made? Do y'all disagree with the points? If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It's going to help me to grow. Make sure you comment. Let me know what you like, what you dislike. Thanks for everybody that continues to show up. Thanks to everybody that comments. And until next time, I'll holla at you.
Know my energy. I don't think you wanna be my enemy. I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy